Hi, my name is Erica Lawless, and I will be presenting about revamping your library program and giving you strategies for integration with literacy as well as literature based activities. A little bit about me. I currently live in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and graduated from WKU, now pursuing my master's in the Light program as well. I have 4 years teaching experience. I teach high school Spanish, and fun. Another fun fact is that I also teach English as a second language to professional baseball players part time. So it's a really fun environment. About my literacy journey, now I enjoy reading as an adult. However, I hated reading as a kid and it felt like a chore. So I try to bring that perspective into the future profession and think about those reluctant readers because I was definitely one. My objective after this presentation for you is librarians will be able to integrate a variety of activities related to literacy and literature to strengthen their program. First, I wanted to talk about what the literature says about literacy, literature based programs, and all of those related details. So, Martis, the text from Martis, states that for many students, programs in the library give them an outlet to express themselves beyond their participation in class. Think about those students who maybe are more shy or feel as though they're constantly being criticized or graded. This is kind of a different place. The library could be the safe space for them to explore interests or just be themselves. Another thing from the young adult literature text by Short and others, reading offers an escape from pressures of school, family, and friends problems that young adults are facing. In the high school, which is as a high school teacher, I see this often that our students go through a lot and it's a difficult time to be a teenager. So, offering that escape and that healthy coping strategy of reading, increasing their literacy skills, finding connections within text rather than other coping skills that aren't as healthy, it's something we should be promoting and something we should be encouraging. So, having that empathy for our students and knowing that reading can really be more than just learning to some of them is something to specifically consider when talking about library programs. Now, I want you to assess your current program. Think about where you are and think about what you actively and frequently do to encourage literacy. I'll give you a second to think about that. So, these ideas, I'm specifically reaching to the high school library just because of my experience through my practicum and my teaching. However, these could be adapted to the elementary or middle school setting, but I will be focusing primarily on what these look like in a high school library and media center. So let's look at some ideas. The first three ideas that we're going to talk about to have some literature based activities and literacy promotion in your library are blind date with a book, first chapter Fridays, and currently reading signs. Maybe you're familiar with some, and maybe some others are new. So let's look at what these mean. Blind date with a book. This is probably a very popular one. It's one that I've seen many times on Pinterest. I've heard about it in different library settings. And the name is pretty self-explanatory, but it's a way to get students to choose a book without getting in the way or judging a book by its cover, literally. It helps them save time searching for the right book by just reading a quick synopsis or a hook to grab their attention. It's also perfect for the indecisive or reluctant reader because it feels like a present or a prize. I think that me as a reluctant reader in the past would be more motivated to read something if there's that mystery of what this is. And I already kind of have an idea of what I'm expecting. So, how to do this is take some books that you've read or have read most of. Then you're going to cover them with craft paper or cover them in something where the cover's concealed. Then add a juicy description, something that'll hook or intrigue the reader. And then the checkout process is just like normal. So after the student unpacks it, they will check it out through you, or you can cut out the barcode if you want it to be a reveal later after they check it out. Now let's look at some examples with pictures. So as you can see, these are very cute, covered, have little details on them. Obviously, that is if you have time or if you're wanting to scale it and do a lot of books, maybe you take away the ties and the labels, but you have your descriptions. They can be as simple as listing a few bullet points, giving a synopsis, or asking a question. So, as you can see in the first picture, this librarian tied it in with Valentine's Day. So, this could be a fun February activity if the first semester of the school year is a little too much. But this could be something, if it goes well, you could bring back a couple times a year and get students really excited and build the hype up before the event happens. The second idea that I'm introducing for promoting literacy and literature-based activities is called First Chapter Fridays. This is a new one to me. Through my practicum experience, I actually did this and will be piloting it at my school next year. But basically, you're choosing a book and recording yourself reading the first chapter. There are a lot of these. If you just type in first chapter readings on YouTube, you can see different people reading them. And the idea is to, if you've already read one chapter, you've gone over the hump of, you've listened to it. So now you just decide, yes, I want to read that, or no, not quite. Different ways you can go about this. You could post a QR code to the link of the video, post it in the school newsletter, send it to the English classes to have students preview the book that they wouldn't have picked up otherwise. So what I think of as this is, as a teacher, if there's 10 minutes left in the class and you don't want to start the next thing, you put on that First Chapter Friday. It doesn't have to be every Friday. It doesn't even have to be on Friday. It could be first chapter readings, but we're going to try this on Fridays in my school and incorporate this as an extension activity if they finished early, or something that's the end of the class for everyone. And the idea is that they are interested and want to go see it in the library and check it out for themselves. It's also great to introduce new arrivals that students may not have known are in the library and get them excited about that. The next idea that I'm introducing is currently reading signs. This is something to help get your staff and teachers on board with promoting literacy. It shows how they love to read too. Obviously, not every adult does, but there is something that they could be reading. They could be a fast reader, or they're reading one book that it's taking them months. But these currently reading signs that you'll see as an example on this slide are there to post what they're reading outside of their classroom doors. They can write the book title or print out their covers to show what they're reading. I've loved watching these connections since doing this outside of my classroom. A lot of students are asking me, what's that book about? Or, are you still reading that book? Or, oh, I read a book similar to that by this person. You should read it next. And really just fostering those great conversations and that love of learning and love of reading with our students in a natural way. So I could not recommend this enough. And it could even be something that's optional to your staff, but even having a few around the school can get conversations going. Now I'm going to introduce 3 more ideas that could be ongoing These could all be more of ongoing rather than standalone events. So the first one is cultural displays and events, also book clubs, and then finally lunch and learns. Cultural displays and events, these are here to represent the diverse students in your school, or if you do not have a diverse school library with your library students, this is something you can use to educate your students on the world around them. So, as we know, representation matters, and your students want to feel included. Many young adult titles and literature across genres do not have underrepresented or minority characters, or as many than we're used to. So, it's great to amplify these voices by hosting events or sharing these titles, depending on different cultural events, months, celebrations. Another idea with these displays and events are changing your book displays and highlighting these underrepresented narratives, as I said before. So let's look at some examples from pictures. So, for example, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which is in May. This is something you could do at the end of the school year, promoting these books, hosting an event if students show interest. Maybe you have Asian students who want to do some cultural talk or a dance, anything. This could be the place where the library is the place where you go to display your culture in a safe space. Hispanic Heritage Month through September and October, you can have different things as well, lifting up those Hispanic voices. And then also, Black History Month in February is a great time to have a new display, cultural events, and so on throughout the library to show your students you care and lift up those underrepresented audiences. This is great for your students in these populations to see that there are books written about them or their experiences, and then also your students who are not in these backgrounds to learn from other people of other perspectives. Book clubs, share your thoughts with those similar to tastes in books. This is something to help you get your students talking and engaging with each other. Genre-specific book clubs are recommended if you have a group of students who seem interested. And something to introduce or welcome those students walking by is having small snacks or something that would incorporate and ignite new members to the club. The final idea I'm going to introduce to you is Lunch and Learns. This is something that you can incorporate, obviously, with admin permission or do this in a way that best fits the needs of your school. But these sessions could be invitation or reservation just so you can control the numbers. But they would come in during their lunchtime. You would host a session on topics that are interesting. So, for example, making your own podcast or using AI in a responsible way. These types of things allow students to be creative while fostering community. And oftentimes, the students have things they want to teach to each other. If they're coming to a topic that interests them, they may already have some background knowledge in that and they want to share. So, those are Lunch and Learns. So, now I've shared with you 6 different ideas that you could incorporate within your library program. I want you to pause and reflect about which of these ideas interest you. Do they seem reasonable and achievable with your current budget? And prior to these events, how could you promote this to reach more students? The idea is to have even more students, all students maybe, interested or participating in one library program over the span of the year. Maybe that's your goal. So, what can you do to do that? Pause and reflect. Now, I just want to briefly share why you should do these things. Obviously, we as librarians and media specialists know what is right for our students. We know that they need digital skills, they need informational literacy, they need literacy skills to succeed in the world we live in. And it's our responsibility, just as much as their teachers, to educate them and give them the best opportunities to hone in these skills, learn them, develop them, and so forth. So, figure out what that is looks like for you in your situation, school, district, all of those things, and decide how you can do that with the needs of your library. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've learned new ideas to take back to your own library, and feel free to also share any ideas that you have in the comment section on this video. And here are my references. Thank you so much.